Tonight, in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, Sonara, the National Refinery Corporation, gets a new general manager and a board chair. The announcement was met in Limbe, as we are going to be hearing in this edition of the news. Also ahead, the conveners of the Anglophone General Conference are still to announce a new date for the holding of the General Conference in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. Even after meeting in Bamenda, that was last weekend for the first time, they said that a new date would be made public after a broad-based consultation that is currently ongoing. Plus, roads in Douala are broken, filled with potholes, a difficult situation for commuters, as we are going to be seeing in just a moment. We shall be right back. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you back from the weekend. You're watching the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Let's begin right here in the southwest region of Cameroon. The National Refinery Corporation, Sonara, now has a new general manager. Mr. Simon Jono Jean-Paul was today appointed by the President of the Republic of Cameroon to replace Ibrahim Taba Mala, appointed Minister of Public Contracts. That was just few days ago by the President of the Republic. The information emerged from an extraordinary board member meeting that took place today in Limbe, southwest region of Cameroon. It was chaired by the Minister of Water Resources and Energy, Gaston Elundu. Mr. Simon Jono Jean-Paul promised to work in close collaboration with the entire staff of Sonara to attain government's objective. Let's hear him in the following excerpt. He was speaking to Davison Maimo this afternoon.
Jean-Paul.
First, I thank God for all the grace on me since now. I thank the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, for the confidence made to me by appointing me to this important function of General Manager of Sonara. We will work together with the government, the board, and all the staff to achieve the objective of the government to make that Sonara is a competitive company. You know that Sonara is a strategic company for our country, and we are conscious that the challenge is very great, but we will do our best to be at the level and to tackle this important challenge. Thank you.
Sonara is, of course, a strategic company, and Madame Bertando knows that the company is sensitive, but she is confident that she is a square peg in a square hole. She was appointed board chair of the company during today's meeting of board or members of the board of directors that took place in Limbe. Let's have her reaction following today's appointment. She was speaking to Davison Maimo.
Son Excellence, M. Paul Biya, vient de décider de la nomination de Madame Do Bertane Bakata
and excitement that I received the news of the board chair of Sonara. I want to give God all the thanks. I thank him so much. And also I want to thank the head of state for the confidence he has accorded to me to this prestigious establishment. It is a sensitive area. It will be a difficult job. Somebody has to do it, and I will do the job. It's going to be collaboration between me, the new general manager, the minister, and all workers of Sonara. Everybody's looking on us. The head of states is looking on us, and this confidence he has given us, and me in particular, and for women in general, we are going to, not to fail him, but we'll do the best that we can.
The new general manager of Sonara and the board chair therefore have a huge task ahead of them. Now, English-speaking Cameroonians might have to wait longer before a date for the holding of the Anglophone Conference is finally made public. A new date for the holding of the broad-based dialogue is yet to be announced, even though the conveners met in Bamenda. That was last weekend. It was the first time that Cardinal Tumi and his team were meeting in Bamenda, and it came barely after a similar meeting took place in Buea, the Southwest Regional Headquarters, that is the host town of the Anglophone General Conference. The Archbishop Emeritus of Douala, Cardinal Christian Tumi, said that enough consultations have not yet been met prior to the pre-national inclusive dialogue to seek lasting solutions to the Anglophone crisis, which is in its third year. A new date would only be known after the ongoing extensive consultations, according to Cardinal Christian Tumi, who spoke to Mbu Stella in Bamenda. Take a listen.
We thought we could fix a date for that meeting. Having thought seriously about the date, we all agreed that enough consultation has not been done. That is why we're sending missions to America and Europe, and within the country to the chiefs, and to other English-speaking Cameroonians. So we decided that we couldn't fix a date today and change it again tomorrow. As soon as we get the results of this extensive consultation that we want to organize within and outside the country, the date and the place will immediately be announced. So we are calling on everybody to collaborate with us for the thorough preparation of this very important meeting, where we will have to let the world know what are our problems. Our main aim is not to take the place of any person in Cameroon. We're meeting as religious leaders to propose to the head of state what Cameroonians, English-speaking Cameroonians, think are the causes of the present socio-political problems, and what do we as religious leaders propose as solutions, and then ask the head of state to call a national meeting of dialogue.
That is the Archbishop Emeritus of Douala, Cardinal Christian Tumi, there speaking in the Northwest region of Cameroon. He said earlier that they are in the phase of consultations as far as the holding of the Anglophone General Conference is concerned. One of the prominent figures whose opinion was consulted is the chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Nijon Fundi. The conveners, who reiterated their neutral and apolitical stance, said that there is need for different heads to come together and propose solutions for the imminent holding of the much expected dialogue platform to put an end to the crisis in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. Let's now have an excerpt of the executive president of the CBC, the PCC moderator, and the spokesperson of the organizing committee of the AGC. They were speaking to Mbu Stella in Bamenda.
And to provide a platform where the various people and the various shades of opinions could be heard. And we thought that the national chairman is a political figure in this country, and he is one among many political actors in the country that we have resolved that we should also consult in the broad-based consultation that we are engaging beginning this year, so that at the end of the day, nobody will arise to say, well, my opinion was never sought, so I'm not part of this. So that's the reason we thought that we should pay this courtesy visit to the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front.
We do not have any of the leaders of the churches or the religious bodies who is a woman. That woman would have been brought into this conveners meeting. We hope that at the different stages where we'll be involving everyone and bringing everybody on board, women leaders will come in.
So the first criteria was that you should be native of Anglophone Cameroon. There are two. Either it is a nativist, that is your father and your mother are from Northwest and Southwest, otherwise known as Southern Cameroon, or West Cameroon after unification, or your parents settled there before 1961. Those are the criteria, because you will know really the problem that the Anglophones are undergoing. Then the other aspect is that other Cameroonians, because it's the Anglophones are Cameroonians, whether we like it or not, and we cannot solve the Anglophone problem in isolation. Other Cameroonians who are not Anglophone will come as well as observers, because that's the reason why right now we are going to carry out, as the moderator has said, a consultation of all Cameroonians across the board for them to understand that there's really a problem.
If we are going to survive, we have to survive together. And so anything that is happening in the midst of the crisis that is not for common good is not healthy. And so my appeal is, whatever you are doing, wherever you are doing it, you need to be asking the bigger question: how does this serve the common good of the country, not just of the group that I represent?
On his part, the chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Nijon Frundi, said that he can only hope on hope that the AGC finally takes place. He has endorsed the AGC and maintained that the government must understand that there is a problem, an Anglophone problem. Let's hear him in the following excerpt.
That God should bless the efforts of this committee so that we come up with peaceful solutions to this, because with the speeches that Mr. B has made, they've made the boys more angry, and they've intensified their approach on the field, and now just attacking anybody. Because, as I said, you saw my brother well beaten, was caught in the Ambazonia camp. You saw my sister here, who was caught and went through severe thrashing. She was in their camp for 4 days, and as I'm talking to you now, they stole my animals in Ngobefang, stole my animals in Monkisu, stole my animal in Babanki here, stole my animals in Mijung, and all this being done in an effort to make me talk ill against the Anglophone issue. I still believe that we have a very strong, the Anglophones in this country have a very strong problem.
We now take a look at the state of road in the country's economic capital, Douala. This is the heart of Cameroon, but moving in some part of the city of Douala is practically difficult for road users. The tour of some parts of the city of Douala shows roads in pathetic conditions. Several parts are without roads, others with deep potholes, while some are simply impassable. A case in point is an 10-quarter stretch of road passing through Block M, that is in Bona Musadi of the Douala 5 subdivision. For me, Armstrong Sander has the details.
The common thing that frightens every road user coming from Carrefour Mosque in Bona Musadi and 10-quarter and 3-quarter Chefferie of Fengudong Bange is how to drive across this large, deep pothole, qualified as a veritable nightmare by drivers and local inhabitants.
So the problem that we are facing here really is about this Carrefour. We had a lot of difficulties. Now people can even try to pass because in this hole there is no water. Every Monday, especially in the morning, when children are going to school, and then when there is water here, let me tell you something, when there is water here, there is a lot of go slow here because people cannot pass easily because of this water. You will see cars start from the other way to the other side.
It is a breakdown point for vehicles, irrespective of their mechanical state, especially those driven by inexperienced drivers. Hardly a day goes by without an accident recorded on this stretch of the roads, according to road users and people who live around here. And that is not all, as the road is also littered.
There is an accident that occurred in front of me. There was this 3-tire bike with this hijack Namfang. They meet here in this very hole. I was coming this way. Immediately as I stand here, I see the man was driving the bike. All her face here was bruises and there was blood coming out just because of this hole.
Water from sewage tanks across Block M empties into the main pipe, which is now exposed by the large deep pothole, and the odor, locals say, is simply unbearable. The water-containing excrement sometimes fill the pothole, especially when it rains, compelling vehicles to swim across. The advanced degrading state of the road, though a nightmare to users, is used by some youths to make money. Some mechanic workshops, tire repair shops, and youths ready to push vehicles could be seen around the advanced degraded stretch of the road, but they say recurrent accidents and the stench from the dirty water do not permit them to be consistently present. The condition of this stretch of the road in Block M, Koto Village, Douala 5 subdivision, which has been on for over 2 years now, is pathetic, littered, sometimes impassable, and the people are looking up to municipal and administrative authorities for an urgent solution.
And it has been a black weekend for Cameroon following the passing of two state officials. We begin with the Senior Divisional Officer for Upper Plateau Division in the West region of Cameroon, Mr. Felix Bilonungu, that has given up the ghost. The governor of the West region, our Fonka Augustine, has indicated that he died of a malaise that was in a motel. His mortal remains have been laid at the Banjul mortuary pending funeral arrangements. Now, Jean Fomun Akam, former legal advisor of the President of the Republic, and he is equally a member of the Constitutional Council in Cameroon, is said to have died in Geneva, Switzerland, where he was taken to for medical attention. That was a few weeks ago. We now talk about the mayor of Bafang in the western region of Cameroon, still Pierre Nkwemo, that is undergoing medical attention in Yaoundé, precisely at the Yaoundé Emergency Center, following a malaise that he developed. It happened after he answered to questions after he was taken to the State Defense Secretariat that was at said in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, following some reports of how he was involved in the misappropriation of land. But up to now, it is still unclear why he was taken for questioning. Supporters of the mayor took to the streets to call for his release. We take you right to news out of the country to talk about Martin Fayulu, runner-up for the DR Congo's presidential election that took place late December 2018, has said that the Constitutional Council should order for the recount of the vote. He is so far contesting the final results that were made public by the Electoral Commission. Details with Immaculate Fogwe.
Martin Fayulu, who came second in the Democratic Republic of Congo's presidential election last month, has appealed to the country's constitutional court to cancel the provisional results.
I'm hoping that the Constitutional Court will call the Electoral Commission to recount the ballot papers, because that's what the law said. We totally disagree with the results that CENI has announced. They are false, they are fabricated, they are nothing to do with the truth.
Catholic priests asked their Christians to pray for peace in the DRC as uncertainty grows over the disputed results. Bishops in the DR Congo deployed over 40,000 observers last month, and based on its tallies, Fayulu won the election with 61%. All eyes are now focused on the court's judgment.
And the election results have so far been contested by the national community and international community. I'm talking about the Democratic Republic of Congo. They're bringing us to the end of this first segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. We shall be right back. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for joining us in this second segment of the news today. We have been joined by one of those who took part in the All Anglophone Conference meeting which took place in Bamenda last weekend, Reverend Tar William Chair. Good evening to you, Reverend. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Thank you.
We heard the Archbishop Emeritus of Douala talking about broad-based consultations still ongoing. Normally, this meeting was supposed to have taken place, if not because of the 2 times postponements that it suffered. Tell us the importance of this broad-based consultation and why now?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to at least share with you what happened in the meeting in Bamenda. I happen to be a member of the organizing committee, and as you got from the cardinal, we discovered that a lot of preparation still needs to be done, and a lot of persons have been sent out to crusade for the conference. And of course, it will be done internationally and nationally, and that's why at the level of media, at the level of meeting persons in churches, in Jangi groups, to sell the vision of this conference, which involves all Anglophones.
Yes, so tell us, you are talking about broad-based consultation at this point in time, an indication that a lot of consultations were not done in the beginning. Could that possibly be the reason why the date for the holding of the AGC is delaying? The announcement of a new date is delaying?
Well, you use the word a lot. I think consultation were done, but to an extent, we're on a process.
You have understood that enough was not done. You didn't do enough consultations.
Yes, and we're on a process. You normally begin from somewhere, you're moving towards a particular direction. So the first part of it was, first of all, to create awareness. There are people who do not know more about the AGC, and a lot of people are confusing it with what had happened before. The convenience are not the same, and of course we needed to give this teaching to the population first, and I think that has been done. The provocation of ideas, people are now talking, those who are for, those who are not for, and we think that we are at the level where we have to move forward to get to the AGC itself. And
even if it has nothing to do with the conferences that have taken place before, you would bear with me that the question on the table is the Anglophone problem. Reverend, I would want to find out from you, there is need for this conference to take place so that those that are in bushes, those that are suffering the devastating consequences of this Anglophone crisis can be able to live their lives normally. Are you confident that the AGC can take place?
Yeah, I'm somebody, when I involve myself in anything, I'm sure of it. I'm very optimistic that when people begin to talk, it is a way for solution. Because what has been happening is that we've been hearing a lot of voices, but we've not seen where people are coming together to put their ideas in a common platform to speak. Everyone is claiming to be right. Everyone is annoyed. People are emotional. And we think that the Anglophones, it's time for all of us to come together and really put our problem. Not only putting our problem, in the midst of problem, in conflict analysis, but what is our need at this present moment? What do we need? We live from want to need, which of course will be pushing us to a path of peace that I believe in. So I'm very optimistic.
One of the master keys to the holding of this Anglophone General Conference is the government of Cameroon that is supposed to give its official stance as far as the holding of the AGC is concerned. Tell us, what do you think about government's perception of the AGC? Do you have the impression that the government might change its opinion? I'm not saying that the government rejected that the conference should not take place. Do you think that the government might finally give its official permission that the conference should take place by issuing a statement? Do you see that coming?
Thank God you've asked for my opinion. And I'm not government, but I think that we are in a state, and everything we are under a state, and we can also hold a meeting without informing the government.
How important is it for the government to show its involvement in this AGC?
It's important because what we are talking about Cameroonians who are suffering, who have been killed, English-speaking people who have a worry, and they are part and parcel of a Cameroon that we are building. And so the government needs to listen to one of the child who is complaining and to see that there is peace.
Do you think it can take place if the government doesn't give its okay?
Well, it's a difficult question, but I think that the government is going to give an okay to it.
Thank you so much. We are going to continue with the Peace Summit that is going to take place in Boya between the 25th to the 26th, organized by the Peace Office of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon. Tell us, why a Peace Summit at this time when we are talking about the Anglophone General Conference?
Thank you very much. The PCC Peace Office is organizing an alumni Peace Summit to to be held in Boya on the 25th to 26th of January. And we think that the importance of this summit is for us as TOTs to come together to discuss common issues that are affecting us. We have trained quite a good number of persons involved in peace. There are about 54 of them. And so we thought it necessary that it's good to bring them so that we get feedback from what they have been doing on the field.
Is it linked to the Anglophone General Conference?
Well, not really. Not really.
It can have an impact.
Definitely, because our office, we do some sort of capacity building. We build young people to go out there and build peace. And so if they are coming together, they are bringing feedbacks. And where are they working? They are working in Cameroon.
Many are saying, questioning how peace can come about when there is no justice. What do you have to say about that? Because when you're talking about a peace summit, it has to do with the prevailing situation in Cameroon for peace to return finally in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. According to some critics, there can be no peace without justice. What do you have to say about that? Would this summit have something to do with that? Would you be discussing the need for justice?
We're a church organization and we believe in the power of justice. When justice flows like a river that never goes dry, there is bound to be peace. A lot of people have placed that on social media. Some have even asked me, how can you be preaching peace when there's not justice? And it is simple. Justice comes from the word to be just. If each Cameroonian is just, and we combine 10, 20, 50, we now form a community of justice. It should not just be an issue of government, it should also begin from us, that when people begin to think that the things we do them honestly, we are transparent, and we can, from our own various communities, stand for the truth. I believe a combination of these can form a just society. However, we know there are political issues that are happening in our country where people have called red black, people have taken stories to favor them because of political interest. We are aware of that and we deny such things.
And talking about this peace summit, of course, you're talking about recognizing those that have been able to do a lot in the domain of the advocacy, advocating for peace and promoting peace in Cameroon. Tell us what is going to be all about, this peace summit in Boya.
Well, it's going to be time for the peace builder to come together to make an evaluation of what they have been doing. It's going to be a time of some nostalgia because we trained 3 different batches under 3 different workshops. It's going to be a time for some nostalgic feeling on what happened because we trained for 10 days within a training session. And of course, it's also going to be time for us to think that we can contribute to the peace of this nation by bringing forth a new baby, which we call the Union of Peace Builders in Cameroon, which the trainers are going to do that if of the conference. And again, we have introduced what we call the Peace Award. The Peace Award is introduced in order to encourage Cameroonians who are helping in building peace in their various communities. This is the maiden edition. And of course, few criteria were put in place. Those doing the nomination, they are the members of the TOT team, training of trainers. Yeah. They are the one nominating. There is a committee that has been formed. And to tell you, the dynamics of it is that the chairperson of the nomination committee is a Francophone, Mr. Fandio Macarius. He's chairing that committee. And within our TOT, within our trainers, we have a lot of Muslims who have also participated, and they are doing quite a lot in their own communities. So it's quite a dynamic group, and we do hope that at the end of this exercise, peace will really reign in our country.
Thank you so much, Reverend Tao. We are hoping that peace actually reigns, and we have our ears on the ground to follow up developments in Boya as far as the Peace Summit is concerned. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
That is Reverend Tao William Chair, the peace, that is the PCC, peace counterpart there, joining us tonight on Talking Point, bringing us to the end of this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on the Equinoxe television. Viewers, so thank you so much for joining us. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Until we meet again, goodbye.